The Midsummer's Night Dream. A Midsummer Night's Dream is a Shakespearean comedy written by, you guessed it, Shakespeare, around 1595 to 96. The play opens in Athens, where Theseus, the Duke of Athens, is preparing for his upcoming wedding to Hippolyta, the Queen of the Amazons. Theseus is eager for the event, but Hippolyta is less enthusiastic, as their wedding is only days away. At the same time, the Athenian nobleman Aegis is trying to force his daughter, Hermia, to marry Demetrius, whom she does not love. Instead, Hermia loves Lysander. Aegis, however, insists on Demetrius and goes to Theseus for help. Theseus gives Hermia an ultimatum: either marry Demetrius, face execution, or become a nun. Hermia and Lysander decide to run away to Lysander's aunt's house outside of Athens, hoping to marry there. Hermia's best friend, Helena, is desperately in love with Demetrius, who scorns her. Helena, hoping to win Demetrius's affection, follows the two lovers into the forest. In the company of fellow artisan come together to practice the interlude which they are to perform at the wedding of Theseus and Hippolyta. Bottom, an artisan, is so self-confident and wants to play in other roles too. Their next rehearsal was set in secret in the forest. This is where the story begins to shift into the realm of magic. In the forest, we meet the fairies. Oberon, the king of the fairies, and Titania, his queen. Oberon and Titania are at odds over a young Indian boy whom Titania refuses to give to Oberon. To get back at her, Oberon decides to use a magical flower that, when its juice is applied to someone's eyelids, makes them fall in love with the first creature they see. He orders his servant, Puck, also known as Robin Goodfellow, to use this flower on Titania while she sleeps, causing her to fall in love with something ridiculous. Meanwhile, Oberon overhears a quarrel between Demetrius and Helena. Demetrius rejects Helena again, and Oberon orders Puck to use the magic flower on Demetrius to make him fall in love with Helena. However, Lysander and Hermia come into the forest and were too exhausted falls asleep immediately after Hermia insisted they must sleep apart from each other. Puck come around and, observing the two Athenians sleeping apart, concludes that there is no live between them and mistakenly administers the magic juice to Lysander, causing him to fall in love with Helena instead of Hermia. Meanwhile, Puck stumbles on a weaver and one of the amateur actors who is in the forest to rehearse for a play he and his friends are preparing for Theseus and Hippolyta's wedding. Rehearsing and turns Bottom's head into a donkey, Titania, under the spell, wakes up and sees Bottom. Thanks to Puck's magic, Bottom has been transformed with a donkey's head, and Titania, enchanted by the flower, falls in love with him. Lysander awakes, sees Helena, and immediately falls in love with her. She mistakes his courtship for mockery and tries to elude him. Demetrius joins Lysander in declaring this love. Lysander argues that Demetrius does not really love Helena. Demetrius argues that Lysander is truly in love with Hermia. Helena believes that they are both mocking her and refuses to believe that either one loves her. When Hermia wakes up, she is confused and upset to find that Lysander no longer loves her. Now, the two women, Hermia and Helena, are in a rivalry over the affections of the two men. Puck leads the lovers through the foggy night, using ventriloquism to keep them from bumping into one another. One by one, they enter a clearing and fall asleep. Puck applies the magic flower to Lysander's eyes so that he might fall in love with Hermia again when he wakes. Back in Athens, Theseus and Hippolyta go to the forest for a hunt. When they come across the confused lovers, the magic begins to wear off. Oberon finally relents and releases Titania from the spell, allowing them to reconcile. Demetrius's love for Helena is now genuine, and Lysander's affections are restored to Hermia. The couples return to Athens, and Theseus pardons them, agreeing that they can marry who they truly love. In the final act, the amateur actors perform their play, a comically bad version of Pyramus and Thisbe, for the Duke and his guests. The ridiculousness of their performance brings a lot of laughter and concludes the play on a light note. In summary, A Midsummer Night's Dream is a comedic tale that explores love, mistaken identities, and the influence of magic. Through a series of misunderstandings, enchanted transformations, and comic antics, Shakespeare paints a whimsical picture of the confusion and joy that love can bring. The play ultimately celebrates the triumph of true love and the playful, sometimes unpredictable nature of romance.